Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of marriage. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. Ladies, lean in because I have some exciting news for you. This episode is brought to you by the Command Collective community. Now, if you haven't been on Instagram with us building and shaping this community, don't worry, you still have the opportunity to be a part. The Command Collective is a 12-month implementation and support experience for military women and spouses ready for community of diverse women who are looking to root one another on as we thrive personally in our marriage and in building a legacy. Listen, this membership is like none other, and you can try it for $1 for the full first month. You get this? Okay, and the reason why, let me tell you why it is so important to be in community is because what I've realized is you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. So I am inviting you to get a part of this collective team with the Command Collective community. Check it out today at breecarroll.com/community. That's breecarroll.com/community. And we can't wait to welcome you into the Command Collective. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Bree Carroll, and welcome to Hearts and Stripes podcast. You are tuning in to the Unwrap and Recap series, where we are looking back at the top episodes here on Hearts and Stripes podcast. So in this Heart to Heart, I am excited because I have a fantastic co-host. You may know her as the fabulous Juvilyn Garcia. She is a fellow Military Spouse of the Year recipient and a fellow advocate for what? Military marriages, of course. And you can hear her episode right here on Hearts and Stripes podcast on episode 50. So Juvilyn, say hello for round 2 of the Unwrap and Recap series.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here and so honored, Bree, that you've asked me to co-host with you for this series. I'm super excited to introduce this episode. This one really spoke to my heart, so I'm really excited for that. But again, I'm super excited to be here with you guys, sharing my heart alongside with Bree.
Yes, and we're going to just dive right on in, because if you guys are listening, you know that we are all about strengthening military marriages here. And how we want to do that is with our 3 pillars. We want you to thrive personally. We want your military marriage to thrive. And we want you to build a thriving legacy. So that is what we talk about here. And in this Unwrap and Recap series, we're listening to the episodes that you loved the most and giving those little reminders since it's the holiday season, right? It's time where people are creating their plans and you're getting prepared for the new year. And we thought this was a great time for you to kind of reflect back on some of the big moments that we had here at the On Hearts and Stripes podcast. And this one, I will say I'm a little biased. I was happy that it was a top episode, but I'm a little biased because this is my biz bestie. We're talking about episode 43, Thrive with Sandra Ocasio. Again, shout out to Sandra. So my biz bestie, love her. She does amazing things and she builds funnels, and not just any funnels, but like 6-figure funnels. She is a military spouse entrepreneur that you absolutely will want to tap into and listen to if you are a fellow entrepreneur like Juvilyn and I. Which is why I think not just the fact that she is an entrepreneur herself, but the transparency, like the realness that she shared in this episode, from everything to believing in yourself to mental health. Like, this episode was just jam-packed. So let's hop into a little more of your story. You are an amazing entrepreneur, and you really had to believe in yourself to make a pivot, to make that commitment to like be married to someone who you knew had this lifestyle of being in the military, to kind of leave that corporate field. What was it like for you to just believe in yourself, one, and to kind of overcome obstacles that this crazy entrepreneurial life has?
So interesting enough, once he came back, we got transferred over to Florida. So that's where we're currently at. And I always had the mentality, it does not matter where I'm going. It does not matter where I'm at. I'm always going to thrive because I have education. I have good background experience. I had a good resume. And
Right.
then that really came down to coming to this little tiny area where there isn't a lot of big corporations. And truly, what ended up coming to be was that I went to interviews and I was good for the position, but then they would be like, yeah, we'll give you a job as a payroll director at $16 an hour. And I'm like, hold up. So I was like, wait a minute, time out. I'm gonna have to go home and figure this out at home. I was like, I refused to take a job that was not going to pay me my worth. I had worked many years in corporate and I refused to take that step back. And also I kind of thought to myself, okay, this military lifestyle that I have now adopted and embraced is not going to go away. That like, I really did do this. I now want to honor my husband. And the truth is that we're going to have to move every 4 years. So how is that going to affect my career and my progression in a place? Like, am I going to have to go to a new job every 4 years? So that's when I really sat down, and I had a friend mention to me, hey, you should really try to do like virtual assistant work from home. Maybe you could try that. You have all this background and experience. Maybe you would like that. So I started dabbling with that idea, and I came to realize, oh my God, there is an opportunity for me online.
Right. Yes.
So I started as a virtual assistant. When I started my business, that's what I did. I offered virtual assistant services from home. And, you know, at first I did all the mistakes. I did all the things. Like, I was just like, I'm going to throw anything on the wall and see what sticks. And, you know, at the beginning, I used to do everything that I thought I was supposed to be doing, but it wasn't until I started investing in myself and investing in personal development and investing in a coach and so forth that I came to realize I really need to narrow down what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
You know, it was like I was doing way too much. My to-do list was so long, and I couldn't really say I loved all of the things that was on my to-do list. And so the moment I started narrowing down and saying no to all the things was the moment I started falling in love with my business. And that's when I realized, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, and this is what we're doing because this is the lifestyle we're living, I need to make sure that I'm working remotely and that I'm working on something I actually love. And so that's when I discovered sales funnels, and I discovered when I started doing the tech piece of virtual assistant was when I was like, oh my God, this is meant for me. Like, this is in like 2 years, I learned how to operate 40 different platforms. And so I became very valuable, and I became very known because people would come to me and say, hey, I heard you help so-and-so with this launch, this 6-figure launch. What did you do? So over the last 5 years, I've been able to collect all this information on how to have a successful 6-figure launch. And so that's really what I'm known for now. As you know, we're in the same community. And so now I'm able to teach and coach in private communities with top-notch coaches on my expertise and what I do and so forth. But one thing I do want to mention, and I'm not going to sit here and just talk about the pretty stuff. I definitely want to point out that in the process of going through that shift from corporate to now being an entrepreneur, it really messed me up.
So Juvilyn, what do you have on this episode? Because there's so much we can talk about.
There is. I feel like I can go on and on. So brace with me as I get through these notes. But like you mentioned, it's very relatable. And I think as an entrepreneur ourselves, so many key points, like everything she was saying, I was like, that's it, yes. And it really goes into say, your spouse has to be complementary.
Yeah.
so well. I was like, yes, that's so true. Because I always think about, if my husband wasn't supportive with my small business, would I be as successful as I am today? And I honestly don't think I would be. And for the small fact that you need your spouse to have your back, right? Like, I think so many of us, we were the side hand to our spouse, but then we forget to thrive in ourselves. And when she said that, I was like, yes, that's it. Because she said, being successful in life beyond just being a spouse was huge for me. It was like all the speakers all over my head. I'm like, yes, I'm more than just a spouse. I'm more than just the person who's with my husband. I'm my own person too. And I think other than being an amazing entrepreneur, she's very relatable. And she goes on to saying, it doesn't matter, her exact words, she said, it doesn't matter where I'm at or where I'm going. I'm always going to thrive. And I think that in itself is so huge. I think so many people have so much potential within themselves, but they forget that over time they're taking care of their kids and taking care of their husband, that they forget to take care of themselves. And I think going back to mental health and just seeing what the pandemic did to people, I think it's so important to focus on yourself and thrive individually for yourself. For you to be able to love and pour into others, you've got to pour into yourself too. So many key points, but those really.
I agree. I completely agree. I love how that part that you were talking about when she was talking about your partner is an asset and how it needs to be complementary to your life, and how you decide to like lean into entrepreneurship really makes a difference. And I really like how we talked about that portion of identity, because I think oftentimes a lot of spouses, we find our identity in the role as a wife or a husband or a spouse or a mom, or if you have a career, like, or if you're an entrepreneur, you find your identity in the things that you do. And it's like, I heard a great a pastor that I like to listen to, who is just like, you know how when people address pastors and they always say like Pastor such and such, like Pastor Mike or Pastor John or whatever. And he's like, I'm John. What I do is pastor. Like, you don't say to Michael Jordan, hey, baller Jordan. Like, you don't say, like, you don't call other people who do things, you don't call out like, hey, military spouse Juvilyn. Like, no, like, yeah, that's something that I do. Yeah. But like, it's not my identity is the point. And I think as we go through seasons, we need those subtle reminders, because Sandra was very transparent about sharing an identity crisis. And I have had that. I've had identity crisis after I've had children. I've had identity crisis after PCSing to places and feeling like complete fluster and like panic mode, because it's like, I'm in this new season and it's like, who am I now? And I think in this, I'm not sure if I said it in this episode, I probably did, but I really dislike that whole, like, recreate yourself every time you PCS. Like, no, you should be you, authentically you, knowing who you are, tapping into the person that you are, because you have worth, you have value, you are such a brilliant person just being you, like, not with a title, not with a role, not with a ring, like, just you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I completely agree with that, because I think it's crazy that she mentioned that, because I feel like it's so true. Like, identity crisis isn't just having a midlife crisis. It really is like when you're so comfortable. I think even me going back to work when I started working in the clinic after the pandemic, it's not that I didn't go to nursing school and everything. It's just I didn't know who I was. I'm like, I just want to be a mom. That was like my, flight or fight. Like, that's all I knew. And we forget like our roles, because we're so comfortable doing the same thing over and over, that we're more than just that. And that's why I stressed, even a lot of my mom friends, they're like, I'm just a mom. I'm like, no, you're not a mom. This is your name, and this is how you should run with it. Because I think a lot of us, I hear it so much in the military community too, like, oh, I let myself go because I became a mom. And it's no, like, go back and reignite that fire, because I think so many of us get so caught up. It's such a joy to be a mom, but it's so easy to lose yourself in it.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
It's a blessing and a curse, but there's so much joy in still being a mom, but then still being you.
Right. And I will say, I love how Sandra also shared on that mental health portion. She said like she completely broke down. So shameless plug here, the MFLAX that you may have, or family life counseling services. And if you need to speak to someone, it is okay. Like, let's remove the stigmas of like seeing a therapist. And I think it's starting to become cool now, honestly. So I am happy about that. So, but just if anyone still feels like, ooh, I'm going through something, but I can't tell someone that like I might want to hurt myself, or I really feel depressed all the time, like I cannot shake this thing, it is very heavy. Please, please, please go and talk to someone. And I was so grateful that she shared that, because you can look at a person and you can say like, oh, she's so successful. She has her own business. She has all of this and all of that. And she's like, yeah. And I also had a breakdown.
Exactly. I'm actually drowning. And I feel like that too, like people who have it so well kept and together, like actually are the ones who need to be checked on, because people assume everything is great when they're not great.
Right.
So I being able to like, and being vulnerable, I think that has been so good during the pandemic, because people are able to be like, I need help, please help me, you know, where before it would just get to the worst of the worst, but then you're too late. Like, so I think that I love how she mentioned that. She said mental health is crucial. And she even went on to saying, she said mental health is crucial. And that's why it doesn't matter like what you're going through. Like you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated her saying that.
Yeah. And so that really talks to like that first pillar that we believe here at Hearts and Stripes podcast is we want you to thrive individually and personally, because if you don't take care of yourself, and the way I like to say it is if you don't show up for yourself first, you're not going to be able to show up for your military marriage. So it starts with you. It really starts with you taking the time to check in with yourself, to look in the mirror and have a like real conversation with yourself. Call it crazy if you want to, but like really check in. And can you look at yourself in the mirror? Like, are you hurting in an area? Do you need to take a break or ask for help in these areas? Do you need an accountability partner in some areas? Like, do you need someone to just talk and have a conversation? And I really hope that as you guys go back and listen to episode 43, one, I hope you are encouraged by Sandra's story, because she is like killing it out here. And I love her for that. And two, I hope you are encouraged to also understand the importance of mental health, taking care of yourself, and realizing that we all go through that identity crisis, because in the military life, there's so much transition. And until you can find a way to kind of like re-anchor yourself, you may continue to go through that cycle, which is why I actually had a course all about identity. And I'll try and link that below if anybody wants to use that as a resource, but also reach out to your counselors, clinicians, a friend, like family. If you're really close with family members, like call on a person. And by all means, we're going to have our links to our Instagram pages in the show notes. Slide in our DMs. It's fine. Like we are here for one another and we want to build community here. The Hearts and Stripes Facebook group is also available if you are looking for a place to find community. But whatever it looks like for you, if you are in the position, you re-listen to episode 43, you're like, I can totally identify with this breakdown because I feel like I'm having one right now. Whatever it is that you choose, take action once you have that realization. Don't sit in that by yourself.
Yes, I agree. Awesome.
So because this is a episode that talks about thriving and entrepreneurship. Juvilyn, I need you to share all the goodness about your small business.
Oh, thank you. So I'm actually a Zaya activewear rep. What that is, it's quality activewear. So it's Lululemon quality without the price tag. I've been doing it for a little over 18 months now, and I absolutely love and adore it. If you are a mom on the go, or just work out consistently, or even just need something with quality casual wear, we have it all, from anywhere from women's to men's to kids, to a million accessories that everyone can use from day to day. So I absolutely love it. My links will be below, so definitely check that out. But I don't sell it because I have to. I sell it because I love it. I truly do. And it became something that started off as what I thought would just be a discount, and now fast forward, I'm doing it consistently. I love it. I adore it. I basically live in it. So
yes. And she has an amazing team as well. So shout out to Juvilyn's team. I love seeing when you guys did the group picture, and let me tell you, the stuff, all of the things are cute. Like, I love the leggings with the little pockets. Like, those are like my favorites. So we will make sure to drop links below so that you can check out Juvilyn and her small business with Zaya. And most of you know my small business, small but mighty businesses here, guys, is B Carroll Events. And I am the owner of B Carroll Events. And what we do event planning, design, and strategy. And I love to support change makers as they bring in live events into their transformation formula. So if anyone is looking or knows someone who is a change maker, a life coach, an influencer, someone who is bringing about this change, maybe someone who's even talking about this mental health thing, and they are bridging the gap and really serving people, those are my people. I would love to partner alongside them for event support. So, Juvilyn, thank you so much for being a part of this Unwrap and Recap series. I'm excited to chat with you again on the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few, the proud, that aim high and are forged by love. Always ready, always there. We are Mill Marriage Strong.